This is the first time I've taken on a project as big as this, and one of the key things I have learnt so far is the importance of doing one thing at a time. It's so easy to get overwhelmed by the amount of work that needs doing. With that being said, the next task I wanted to do was to remove all the rust from the B pillar to get it ready before priming. I started by using the orbital sander to remove as much rust as I could. This was my starting point, so you can see there was a good amount of rust to remove, but luckily it was all just surface rust and nothing serious. After I finished using the orbital sander, I moved on to using some wet and dry sandpaper to get into the trickier areas that I just couldn't get into with the orbital sander. I had made a good start and removed all the surface rust from the main face of the B pillar. I would just need to come back tomorrow to finish removing the surface rust from the trickier areas before priming. I came back the next day to finish removing the remaining rust and prime the B pillar. After I'd finished using the wet and dry sandpaper, I used a shot blaster to remove any last lingering bits of rust that I could not get to. After using the shot blaster, I removed the plastic B pillar cover and the sliding door catch. With the sliding door catch removed, I went over the surface one last time with the orbital sander to make sure all rust was removed. I masked all the windows before spraying to avoid getting any paint on the windows. I then cleaned the B pillar with some cellulose thinners. Now the B pillar was ready to be primed. I primed the B pillar with U-Pol's Acid 8 etch primer. I sprayed a few coats of the primer, letting it dry between each coat. I was very happy with the results, and it gave me a little insight as to how nice the van will be when all the rust is gone and it's repainted. What a difference a bit of paint can make. The next day I came back to put a new cover on the van as the current tarpaulin is falling apart. It wasn't waterproof either, so I decided to get some much better quality tarpaulin that was waterproof. The blue tarpaulin is just several sheets of cheap tarpaulin duct taped together, so not really ideal. I bought the new tarpaulin from a company called Tarpflex. It was just over £50 for all the tarpaulin, so not cheap, but also not as expensive as a proper cover would be. Also, doing it this way, I can work on a section of the van at a time whilst keeping the rest of the van covered. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and ring the bell to see what happens next.